Richard I's coronation, a new king for England in 1189. On September 3, 1189, Richard I, known to history as Richard the Lionheart, was crowned King of England at Westminster Abbey in a ceremony marked by grandeur, symbolism, and controversy. Richard's coronation was not merely a momentous event in the annals of English history but also a significant turning point in the medieval political landscape of Europe. Richard's rise to power was shaped by a complex web of familial dynamics, political maneuvering, and his own ambitions, setting the stage for a reign marked by military exploits, crusades, and a reputation that would echo through the centuries. Let's explore the circumstances leading up to Richard's coronation, the significance and ceremony of the event itself, and its immediate aftermath, including the controversies and challenges that Richard faced as he assumed the English throne. Background: the road to the throne. Richard's ancestry and claim to the throne. Richard I was born on September 8, 1157, in Oxford, England, as the third son of King Henry II of England and Eleanor of Aquitaine. Richard's claim to the throne came not by default, but through a series of familial and political machinations. His father, Henry II, had established the Angevin Empire, which included not only England but also vast territories in France, such as Normandy, Anjou, and Aquitaine. Richard's mother, Eleanor, was one of the most powerful and influential women in Europe, providing Richard with a significant claim to both the English and French crowns. Richard was not originally intended to be king. His older brother, Henry the Young King, was crowned co-ruler with their father in 1170, but he died of dysentery in 1183, leaving Richard next in line. Richard's path to the throne, however, was fraught with conflict. His relationship with his father was strained, marked by rebellion and defiance. Richard joined his brothers in the revolt against Henry II in 1173–74, a conflict driven by their frustrations over their father's refusal to delegate power and provide them with independent territories. Despite their rebellion's failure, Richard managed to negotiate a truce with his father and retain control over his mother's Duchy of Aquitaine. The death of Henry II and Richard's ascension. The final years of Henry II's reign were characterized by turmoil and betrayal. Henry's relationships with his sons continued to deteriorate, culminating in his defeat by Richard, who had allied himself with Philip II of France. In July 1189, Henry II died, reportedly muttering, "Shame, shame on a conquered king." His death paved the way for Richard's uncontested ascension to the throne. Richard's assumption of power was not just the beginning of a new reign, but the start of a new era in England, characterized by a shift in focus towards the Crusades and military campaigns abroad. The coronation ceremony, symbolism and significance. The preparations for coronation. Richard's coronation was meticulously planned and carefully orchestrated to project power, legitimacy, and continuity. The ceremony was held at Westminster Abbey, a site of profound historical and spiritual significance, having been used for the coronations of English kings since Harold Godwin's son in 1066. The selection of Westminster Abbey was deliberate, aligning Richard's coronation with the tradition of English monarchy and reinforcing his right to rule. In preparation for the event, Richard ordered significant renovations to the abbey, as well as elaborate decorations and the construction of a grand ceremonial route. Nobles and clergy from across England and the continent were invited, underscoring the ceremony's importance and ensuring widespread recognition of Richard's authority. The coronation day, rituals and controversies. The coronation ceremony itself was a blend of religious ritual and political theatre. It began with a procession through the streets of London, where Richard, dressed in regal attire, was greeted by cheering crowds and foreign dignitaries. The procession ended at Westminster Abbey, where Richard was anointed with holy oil by the Archbishop of Canterbury, Baldwin of Exeter. This anointing symbolized Richard's divine right to rule, reinforcing the notion that his kingship was sanctioned by God. Following the anointing, Richard was crowned with a gold crown and adorned with the symbols of kingship, the scepter, representing temporal authority, and the orb, symbolizing his dominion over the Christian world. The act of crowning was accompanied by oaths of loyalty from the assembled nobles, further solidifying Richard's authority. However, Richard's coronation was not without controversy. A significant scandal erupted when Jewish leaders, who had arrived to offer gifts to the new king, were barred from entering Westminster Abbey. This led to violent riots in London, fueled by anti-Semitic sentiment among the populace. The situation escalated into a pogrom, with Jewish homes and businesses attacked, and several Jewish people killed. Richard, concerned about the international implications and his own reputation, condemned the violence and ordered the perpetrators to be punished, but the damage to his relationship with the Jewish community was already done. Immediate aftermath and challenges. Financial and political challenges. One of Richard's immediate concerns after his coronation was to secure his position and fund his impending military campaigns. Richard's ambitions were not centered on England. His sights were set on the Holy Land and the Third Crusade, a campaign to reclaim Jerusalem from Muslim rule under Saladin. To finance this endeavor, Richard imposed heavy taxes, sold titles, and even auctioned off lands. His famously reputed comment, "I would have sold London if I could find a buyer," encapsulates the extent of his desperation for funds. Richard's aggressive fundraising measures did not sit well with many of his subjects, particularly the barons, who were already wary of a king more interested in foreign wars than domestic governance. This discontent would prove to be a persistent problem during his reign, especially given his prolonged absences from England. Foreign policy and the Third Crusade. Richard's foreign policy was dominated by his commitment to the Crusades. Almost immediately after his coronation, he began preparations to leave for the Holy Land. His departure was delayed by political maneuvers and the need to secure the peace in his French territories, but by 1190, he was ready to embark on his crusade. Richard's decision to prioritize the Crusades over domestic affairs left England in a precarious position. He appointed a series of justiciars and regents to govern in his absence, most notably William Longchamp, Bishop of Ely. However, Longchamp's heavy-handed rule and foreign origins provoked resentment among the English nobility, leading to political instability and even rebellion. Legacy of Richard's coronation and reign. The Lionheart's image and reputation. Richard's coronation and subsequent reign have left a complex legacy. While he is celebrated as a chivalrous knight and military leader, earning the epithet the Lionheart, his governance of England was marked by neglect. Richard spent less than 6 months of his 10-year reign in England, viewing it primarily as a source of revenue for his foreign adventures. His military exploits during the Third Crusade, particularly his role in the Siege of Acre and the Battle of Arsuf, solidified his reputation as a formidable warrior and a hero of Christendom. However, Richard's reign also exposed the vulnerabilities and limitations of absentee kingship. The heavy taxation and the selling of royal offices to fund his campaigns fostered discontent among his subjects and weakened the monarchy's authority. Furthermore, his capture and imprisonment by Leopold V, Duke of Austria, in 1192, and the subsequent ransom that England had to pay for his release, drained the kingdom's resources and further strained its economy. Impact on the English monarchy and nobility. Richard's focus on the Crusades and his prolonged absences contributed to the decentralization of power in England. His reliance on deputies and justiciars, and the political instability caused by his absence, allowed the English nobility to assert more autonomy. This period saw the growth of baronial power, which would later become a significant factor in the conflicts between the crown and the nobility, eventually leading to the signing of the Magna Carta in 1215 under his brother and successor, King John. Conclusion: a reign defined by ambition and absence. Richard I's coronation in 1189 was a moment of both promise and controversy, heralding the rule of a king whose ambitions lay far beyond the shores of England. While Richard earned his place in history as a crusader king, his reign is also a testament to the complexities and challenges of medieval kingship. His coronation marked the beginning of a reign that would be defined by military ambition, religious fervor, and a persistent neglect of his own kingdom's affairs. In the end, Richard the Lionheart's legacy is one of a king who sought glory abroad at the expense of stability and governance at home, leaving a mixed legacy that continues to captivate historians and the public alike. Richard's reign, beginning with his coronation in 1189, stands as a vivid chapter in the medieval history of England, reflecting both the glories and the shortcomings of a king whose heart, quite literally, lay in a distant land. Thanks for listening. Like and comment. And please subscribe, as that will help us get more videos out to those interested in the Middle Ages. See you next time on Medieval Chronicles 1066. Stay curious.